Well, we're on the doorstep of the AFC and NFC championship games. Championship weekend is almost here, meaning very soon we're going to find out who will represent the AFC and the NFC in Super Bowl 51. Which means it's time for another updated 2017 NFL mock draft. Hooray! 2 rounds this time. Please try and watch the whole video for explanations of different things before commenting, because I can clearly tell in the comments sometimes that when I put all the picks there, some people will click on the video. I know what you do. You click on the video, you mute it, just so that way you can look at the description box and comment without actually watching the explanation in the video given for certain particular picks. I don't touch on everything, mind you, but I would hope that you would actually want to hear some of the justifications or the reasonings or the rationales. Now, last time when I did the mock draft, I did a one-round edition, and I said I felt pretty good about it, and I did, and I stand by that. This particular mock draft, I feel okay about it. Like I said, it's a 2-round edition. This one starts to make a little more sense to me in terms of the fact that we're starting to find out who's been hired as new head coaches. Sean McDermott in Buffalo, Anthony Lynn for the Los Angeles Chargers, Sean McVay for the Rams, Doug Marrone for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It looks like potentially Kyle Shanahan for the San Francisco 49ers. So it starts to help a little bit in terms of piecing together the draft, in terms of the approach. Now, granted, a lot of these things could still change because we haven't even gotten to Senior Bowl. We haven't even gotten to the scouting combine. We haven't gotten to the start of free agency. So, a lot of these mock drafts you take with a grain of salt. And let me emphasize again, I haven't graded all of these players officially. And coming up in the next couple of days, actually, is when I'll actually start with my scouting report videos for the prospects at the different positions. What I'm probably going to do is do the 5 biggest named quarterbacks. Doesn't mean necessarily the 5 best, but the 5 biggest named quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers and so on and so forth down the line. Then work through the second tier of names of prospects, the third tier of names of prospects, and let's just see how many we get to. But I can tell you for the quarterbacks so far, I've completed my grading for Mitch Trubisky, DeShone Kizer, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes II, and Brad Kaya. For running backs, I have completed my work on Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara from Tennessee, and Deontay Foreman from Texas. So you'll be seeing those videos start to trickle in the next couple of days, and that will be more and more of a common occurrence over the next couple of months. So please bear in mind that a lot of this is still subjective and up in the air, and I'm not ready to make a lot of firm determinations as of this point in time. So for those of you that might sit there, I saw this one comment on the last mock, and it kind of aggravated me just a little bit because I thought it was kind of ridiculous. Somebody sat there and said that they thought I just did all these different scenarios because that way I could point back and say, see, I had it in a mock 3 or 4 months ago. No. That's not really the way I work. Typically, when I come on here, I specifically at the very beginning, and you guys that watch me and consistently with these know this, is I actually will sit there and say, hey, here's the scenario. Here's why I did it this way this time. And playing out different scenarios. When it comes time for me to take a stand on something, I will take a stand on something. Whether or not I'm always right, it depends. It depends. But I can think back to the 2014 draft and saying, Aaron Donald should be a top 10 pick. Ding! Odell Beckham Jr., if he fixes his hands, will be the best wide receiver in this class and won't be close. Ding! Khalil Mack is much better than Jadeveon Clowney and should be the pick at number 1 if they decide the Texans to take a defensive player. Ding, 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 ding! Randy Gregory in no way, shape, or form is a top 5 or top 10 pick, and people are stupid and crazy if they think so. Ding, 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 ding! Bjorn Werner and Demontre Moore most certainly aren't top 5 picks like the early mocks that going into 2013's draft had. Ding, 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 ding! Robert Nkemdiche is not a top 10 pick. While I sat there and said he might go in the 3rd or 4th round, somebody was stupid enough to take him in the late 1st round. But I would rather have him where I had him, which is where he belonged in the mocks, as opposed to where so many other people have him in the top 5 or top 10. Ding, 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 ding. When I take those type of stands, you'll know them. And then ultimately, I'll either be right or wrong. And it's easy to sit there and comment about it when you don't have to come on here and actually do the video and put a face to the comments and to the predictions. I laugh sometimes when I go back and look at some of the stupid things I've said, but also some of the spot-on things I've said too. Now, in terms of this particular mock draft, moving on to the topic at hand. Cleveland, number 1, especially switching to a 4-3, Myles Garrett seems to be the leader in the clubhouse for that number 1 overall pick. It's going to be very hard for them not to do that. They might be tempted not to do that, but it's going to be very hard for them not to do that. With San Francisco at 2, at the end of the day, if you're bringing in a new head coach that's used to working with a quarterback like a Matt Ryan, he's probably going to want his own guy. At this moment, I've got Trubisky there. Who the hell knows what happens with this quarterback market? It could be all types of things. None of these guys end up going in round 1. Several of these guys end up going in round 1. A couple of them go in round 1. Any number of things could happen. Personally, I still think it's crazy that people have DeShone Watson mocked as either the first quarterback in this draft or a top 5 pick, because as much as I like certain things about DeShone Watson, this draft can't be that weak where he is a top 5 pick. I'm sorry, I think that's crazy. But the Bears at number 3, Jonathan Allen's been a popular mock pick there. In looking at the Bears for their 2 rounds, if they came out of this draft with Jonathan Allen and Pat Mahomes the second, yes, to answer your question, I would be absolutely giggly tits. Giggly tits, let's put it that way. Jacksonville, number 4, Leonard Fournette. I've been kind of back and forth on Fournette in terms of where I think his draft stock is. I think his range is anywhere from 4 to 17 in this draft. So in mocks to come, you might see me where I have him at Washington at 17. You might see him where I have him at Cleveland at 12, Carolina at 8. Jets at 6. In this case, Jacksonville at 4. Where I really stumble is on that 4th pick. Because let's say a quarterback doesn't go top 3. I could potentially sit there and see Myles, Garrett, Jonathan Allen, and Malik Hooker in some type of particular order. If you like Jamal Adams more than Malik Hooker, those might be the top 3 picks. But it's always comes to pick 4 is where I have trouble slotting somebody there. Because I think Solomon Thomas is still a bit of a reach potentially at number 4. Derek Barnett's a bit of a bigger reach there. I don't know if they're going to want to take a safety at number 4, although, again, I don't think they would be unwise to do so. You've got an offensive-minded guy as your head coach. You do need to get more out of Blake Bortles. There's not a tackle really worth, honestly, taking at number 4. You'll see I dropped Ramczyk because the last mock I did, I didn't realize he was having hip surgery. But, again, just because I mocked somebody there doesn't mean that that's where I agree with where they should go. Okay? You look at this mock, though. The teams that I have the most trouble figuring out have been Jacksonville at number 4, the Jets at number 6. Really struggled figuring out those 2 teams. Cleveland at number 12, just to give you some type of idea. In terms of prospects that you're looking at and you're wondering maybe why they're so high on the board, I think some people still question why Adoree Jackson would be that high. Again, I haven't fully graded Adoree Jackson. When it comes to that point in time, I will let you know where I fully believe he should be drafted. This is in part trying to project what could happen during the offseason workout process. If he goes to the combine and he blows it up, and he blows it up at his pro day, and he runs really fast, and he looks incredibly athletic, when you look at the return skills, it would not surprise me if Adoree Jackson was the first or second corner taken in this draft. It's that simple. It's that simple. Why do I have DeShone Watson going in the 2nd round to the Buffalo Bills? Because I think teams are going to question the arm talent. They're going to question the arm strength. They're going to question the down-the-field accuracy. I don't know that the decision-making knock is all that great because in 2016, the guy was always a one-read-and-throw type of quarterback. So I would question his field vision much more than I would his decision-making. Now, to be fair to him, when you have guys in the passing game like Mike Williams and Jordan Leggett, how much did you really need to go through your progressions? But at the NFL level, you will have to go through your progressions. It's that simple. And I look at a guy like Mahomes. Yeah, you can talk about the system he came from and everything like that, but you're talking about a guy with pro sports pedigree. His dad, Pat Mahomes, was a reliever in the major leagues for many years. And you're talking about a kid with good size and a big, strong arm. That type of arm talent doesn't necessarily grow on trees. That's why I have the Bears taking him over DeShone Watson. But if the Bears took DeShone Watson in early round 2 or the late portion of round 1, would I be pissed off? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And some of this mock, gets kind of gummed up because no matter what, and every time I do one of these, somebody's like, how do you have this guy dropping or how do you have that guy dropping? Listen, assholes, somebody's going to drop. Some position's going to get a run. Some position's going to have picks put at a premium, and other players, other better players at other important positions are going to drop. That is the nature of the beast every year in the NFL draft. And we still have over 3 months to the NFL draft anyways. So we really should only be starting to formulate opinions about a lot of these guys and where they should potentially be going. But in terms of the quarterbacks, the other thing that complicates things is I'm not doing any mocks of teams trading back up into the tail end portion around number 1. I'm not. At the end of the day, if I saw an NFL draft play out where you had Mitch Trubisky, DeShone Kizer, Pat Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson go all in round one, and a couple of them were taken with the last few picks of round number one because teams were trading back up into round one to get that fifth year, that guaranteed year potentially on that rookie contract for the quarterback, then I think some teams are doing the NFL draft right. If not, and some of these quarterbacks are still on the board when you get to round number three, then I think it speaks to how poorly these NFL teams are doing their jobs. Just saying. If you have particular questions about other picks or what I've done for your teams or comments about it, leave those thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer as many of them as I can. As if I sat here right now and tried to talk about all of them, we would be here a long, long time, and I don't feel like being here a long, long time. Maybe soon I'll do an NFL draft Q&A. Maybe. Just throwing it out there. But for now, enjoy this mock draft. See you later.